Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final play. I am your host, Harrison, and next to me is my co host, my father, Mike.
Hello.
And we will just be running through what we're going to be going over with the final play. Just a disclaimer, we're going to have certain episodes we're going to keep it between 10 to 20 minutes long. And then there's going to be days where we sit here and might as well get popcorn, kick a seat up, relax, because we're going to rant. Okay. Uh, what we're going to be covering mainly is right now, football is in, so football will be the main talking point. But we will touch on MLB, the NBA, and the UFC. But more on like our main topics. I'll let you take over there.
Yep. So this is going to be a Cowboy channel. We are Cowboy fans, but we are going to be probably the most critical fans. Basically, the sugar coating stops here. It's been 27 years since we've been in a Super Bowl, and it's time to just get really critical of everything. Even the victories are going to be criticized.
Yep.
Transactions, who's on the roster, who should be on the roster, who should be coaching, who shouldn't be coaching, stuff like that. So if you're a true Cowboy fan, this is the channel to be on. We're not here to celebrate winning by 30. We're going to find out why I wasn't 40. So
that's a really good take on things, because I'm sorry, guys, I'm 21. I turned 22 this year, and you've got the Eagles, the Bucks. By the way, the last time Dallas won a Super Bowl, the Bucks were in an argument for being the worst team in the league. Also, not to admit, like I said earlier, the Eagles, they went to 2-1-1. That's not a. I'm sorry, if you're a Cowboy fan, it was either you allow Brady to surpass you, or you let the Eagles win one. That's a lose-lose situation. Honestly, would have rather had Brady win a 7th right then and there, or win his 6th right then and there. Who else? Seattle. Seattle went to 3. They win in 06 with Sean Alexander. They go again in, what was it, 14? They go in 14? 14, they beat Denver. And then they returned in 16 and lost to New England. Or was it 17? Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those two.
So, I mean,
3 Super Bowls.
guys, we're looking at almost 30 years of, honestly, what I would like to call basic football. I don't think anything that we've done within the past 30 years is what I wouldn't consider it top tier.
But last year, Cincinnati went to a Super Bowl. And Cincinnati is pretty much considered one of the worst organizations.
They are.
For a long, long time. And they have 2 decent drafts, and now they're Super Bowl contending. And here we are.
I mean,
can't get past the divisional round.
No, we can't. And it's a struggle for Dallas right now in that situation. And not to mention, we are here. What is it? We're going into year 27. This is year 27 of not going to the Super Bowl. And I'm not even going to say I'm not going to the Super Bowl. The NFC Championship game. Like, we haven't been in that long. That's an issue.
Not even close.
Not even close. And I get it. Our owner, GM, and his son, they sit here and act like Bill Clinton's still in office. The game's changed. And I think it's time that some things need to change within our organization, but also it's time to also upgrade ourselves and update ourselves with where the game's at.
Yeah, this is going to be right at Jerry Jones. And when we start winning Super Bowls, you can start kissing everybody in the luxury suite. But a regular season game and overtime, you should have more questions than celebrating and hugging and everybody. Let's just get real, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Patriots are not as good a team as they were, and we had to go to overtime to win, and that just tells you right there we're not playing to our best abilities, you know, the talent we have.
No, we're not. And I think that this year will be a statement year for Dallas. because last year we had the second easiest schedule, go 12-5. But now we're looking at having the easiest schedule. And if we can't repeat 12-5, I think there's a problem. I think if we cannot win our division, and I understand there's a whole problem with the NFC East and nobody's been a repeat within like the last like 20 something years. I don't care about that. I care about, changing the course of that. Let's go back to where we were, but just now in today's day and age. I think that's where we need to be now. We need to be constantly winning the division. We need to be a team that's always in the playoffs. We need to be the team. I mean, we're already the team that's highly talked about. Whether you love us or hate us, we're talked about. But I think that right now what's going on is we have too much toxic positivity. It's not what we need. We need more people that'll sit here and nitpick the things that are what are essentially killing this team in these when we play top tier teams and we're not winning. I think people need to be more critical of that. And I mean, it's just going to be a long ways away, and we're going to see where we end up.
Yep, and we're going to like I said, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. Those days are over. If we expect them to play to their abilities every week. We lost Tyron Smith. I understand that, but teams lose people, and they're able to replace them and win games and go deep into the playoffs. And I mean, you mentioned the Eagles just a few years ago. They won with a backup quarterback.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's no excuse.
And to touch on that Tyron Smith issue, I think that right now where we're sitting in Dallas is that why are we announcing to everybody we're going to settle it in-house? Don't announce that. We are way too vocal with moves that we make. Let's just start this if we could restart this offseason over, I'm convinced if anybody asked Jerry Jones, hey, how are you? Would you change anything if we restarted this offseason over? He's too stubborn of a man to admit that he's made wrong moves. It's easy to restructure Amari Cooper's contract. That's super easy to do. Go ahead, pull up videos of Amari Cooper in these interviews in Cleveland. He looks depressed. Okay? He looks depressed. But while he was here in Dallas, he was happy-go-lucky. He felt he was home here, and we turned around and trade him for a bag of chips. I'm not cool with that. I'm not. I feel like
and look at our receiver situation now.
Yeah, receiver situation. We got Gallup. Gallup may be back between weeks 2 and 4. I think 2 is a little bit on the early side. I think 3 might be perfect, but 4 would be on the caution side of Dallas, coming back against the Washington Commanders. James Washington getting a freak injury accident, just running a route the second week of training camp. I mean, nothing you can do about that. Landing wrong and being toppled over, that's not going to look good. So right now, where we look, the only people that have scored a touchdown in our receiving core right now is CeeDee Lamb. And I don't understand people knocking on CeeDee Lamb.
Didn't Hendershot score one?
Well, here's the thing: is we're talking about right now we're talking about regular season games. We're not talking about what happened Friday night or the last couple of weeks. We're talking about receivers that have scored regular season touchdowns. Mm-hmm. And the only other receiver that's seen the field that we have in our core right now would be Noah Brown. And I'm a fan of Noah Brown coming out of Ohio State, but the thing is, I don't think he's getting. It's hard to even get playing time when you have CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. It's hard to get onto the field with those guys in front of you. But then Gallup goes out, Noah Brown's the guy that steps up. And there have been games where he was stepping up big time. But then not to mention you add in Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson was viewed as a higher target within practice and week by week. by our offensive coordinator and probably our head coach. And they're like, all right, we'll use Cedric Wilson more than we use Noah Brown. But Noah Brown has had his moments of shine, but I think that he needs – I think now with the situation we're in now, we're not going to bring in – they've already said they're not going to bring in a veteran. If they would have brought in a veteran, I'm sorry. I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. I think Julio would have been the best option. I know there are fans that asked for Odell. Fans asked for T.Y. Hilton and a few other guys. But I think, in my honest opinion, I think if Dallas was going to make a move at the wide receiver spot, it was going to be Julio. I'm not going to pass upon Julio as a wide receiver in the NFL. He was technically wide receiver 2 in Tennessee. But I think that even still, just the name alone is going to get people to pick up the phone and call him. So that's just where I'm at with that situation. And now touching on the offensive line situation, we're saying we're going to settle that in-house. That is tremendous because here's the problem I have with that, okay? Here's the problem I have with that. Who is going to play left tackle? And there's people talking about, Tyler Smith wasn't drafted to replace Tyron. I believe that to a point. He was drafted to replace Tyron in the coming years. Tyron Smith has 1 year left on his contract. 1 year. Mm-hmm. And I got to be honest, guys, and it sucks to say it, but I think his time, not only within our organization, but within the league, has come to an end. And it's kind of painful to say because in 2016, God, that was an offensive line, man. That was the offensive line to be behind. I mean,
that's why
we haven't seen an O-line like that since
with that line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We haven't seen an offensive line built like that since we were in the Super Bowl. And we had the makings between 14, and I'm going to be honest, all the way up until now to do something, and we just haven't done anything with it. And again, that's what we're about here at the final play. And we're just going to be super critical on Dallas. As you can see, we're able to just rant on what we consider little things.
Yeah, that's just basic. That's just obvious things. We're going to dive deep into every game, every situation. Time management has been a problem. Field goal kicking has been a problem. On and on and on. So,
well, thank you guys for subscribing and tuning in to the first episode of The Final Play. I'm your host, Harrison, with my co-host.
My name is Mike.
And we will see you guys in episode 2.
Bye. We just got 100 million views.